This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Canine Crew, it's time to just sell the damn thing. Doberman Dan is revealing his contrarian formula for getting a rush of new customers, building your business faster, and making the highest possible profits. Go to justsellthedamnthing.com to get your copy today.
Prepare yourself for the uncensored, nothing held back, no BS reality of how business and life really work. Doberman Dan is off the chain.
Canine Crew, you're listening to the Off the Chain Show. Welcome back. Last week, we were talking with Joe from Agora Financial. He was about to get into how he has multiplied that business while being in the lead, multiplied it 4x, growing from 50 million to 200 million a year. So let's jump back into it.
The fact that you're willing to screw up time and time again, or the fact that you've overcome the fears of screwing up time and time again is also one of the keys to why you've grown so fast.
Absolutely. We always try to fail fast and fail cheaply, right? Is that you're not trying if you're not making mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
The first thing, if you'd like, that I when you and I first met, and mission that I was kind of on at the time, and one of the things that I believe confidently has caused us to have this hockey stick growth over the past couple of years, is I went on a mission a couple of years ago to really build what I wanted to be the best in-house copywriting team in the industry. And I made it a priority of my life to try to do that. So that, I think, is one of the components that if anyone is out there listening, and if they have a direct response business, I believe that the very first thing you can do to 2x, 5x, 10x, 20x, 50x your business is to build an in-house copy team with you. That, I believe, is the fastest way to grow a direct response business. And that was the mission that I was really, I think when you and I found each other through Caleb, it was really even the reason I had found Caleb Osborne is because I had made it a priority of my life and sacrificed nearly everything in my life to a fault at some times to build that in-house copy team. So that was one thing that had led us to kind of the tipping point that we're at now, which is we have what I believe, at least the numbers are proving it, to be the world's best copywriting team.
I would agree with that. And so what I find interesting is I'm a freelance copywriter. I mean, during moments of weakness or slight inebriation, people can possibly hire me. I mean, you guys got free reign. You just say the word and I'm there. But you're the exception. Everybody else has to work really, really hard to try to hire me. But during moments of weakness, I might be available for hire as a freelancer. But you've found that having an in-house copywriting team instead of working with freelancers has been way more successful for you. So talk more about that.
Yeah, so I'm going to say something that I don't mean to be controversial. It's just something I believe, and people are free to disagree with me. But I think, and I think you and I have talked about this before, so I'm not trying to offend anybody. I believe that the freelance market is dead. And I think it's not recently dead. I think it's dead, buried, maggots in it right now. And here's why. As a freelancer, and you know this way more intimately than I do, it's very tough to be the one who has to come up with the idea, understand the product, get access to the particular guru of which that freelancer is writing for, come up with the ideas, write the copy, turn it in, and have it mail very well. Like that's what you almost have to do as a freelancer because you're the hired gun to do that. And oftentimes the clients that are out there, if they were smart, and I'll get that to you in a second. If they're smart, any of the clients out there should be building their own in-house copy teams. So the clients that right now, I believe, are hiring freelancers are already set up to be bad clients, I believe. So the copywriter doesn't get a good client to work with because all the good clients are out there building their own in-house copy teams. So what happens on an in-house copy team is that you're able to effectively leverage the power of crowdsourcing in a way that you can't with freelance. So with our internal copy team, we have about 25 copywriters that are spread between Baltimore and Florida. And our copywriters, the main thing that they get, the main benefit that they get is the crowdsourcing of ideas. So the way that I always put this is I am not smart enough personally to come up with an idea on my own to, let's say, execute that idea and have it mail very well. Every idea of mine that's worked over the past couple of years has been crowdsourced by the people around me on our in-house copy team and our in-house publishing teams. So I'll give you a perfect example of this if you'd like, that kind of illustrates this power of crowdsourcing.
Yeah, please do, because this is important.
We have a product that we publish, which is called Income on Demand. And without getting too deep in the financial weeds, it leverages an option strategy. And Dan, you know this very well because you just wrote for Income on Demand. But it leverages an option strategy that allows you to get paid instant income right now. It is a product that is not unique to us. Our guru is unique to us, but this is a product that almost every financial publishing company has. So that product has been around for a long time. We, in the old past, we had hired some freelancers to write for this product, and they write the same old headlines that have been out there forever because they don't know the saturation in the market, because they're not engrossed in that market, right? They might be writing a survival letter one day, a health letter the next day, a financial letter the next day. So these freelancers are at a disadvantage because they don't understand the state of the market. They have a hard time getting access to the guru because it always has to be through a scheduled Skype call. And I'll get to that in a moment. But the headline that we typically get on a freelancer to write a package like that is something like how to make hundreds of dollars instantly without ever trading a stock. It's just a pretty straightforward, plain vanilla, benign headline. But for me, I sit around and I think about it all the time. I know the saturation of the market. I know how it's been sold in the past. I know what's not working anymore. And a couple of years ago, I was being very lazy on a Friday night because I have 2 kids and my wife had went out with her friends on a Friday night. So I was stuck at home with the kids. The kids were in bed and I was flipping around on the TV and I came across the David Blaine magician TV show. It was like on ABC or NBC. I think it was called Beyond Magic. And if you guys are familiar with David Blaine, he goes out there on the streets of something like New York City and he conducts this magic and then people go bananas. So, he shows them how he can pull a card out of a hat that's their card or whatever. And these people just go bananas on the street. So I had an idea. I said, this income on demand product that we have, which is how to generate hundreds of dollars instantly in the markets without ever trading a stock, is the closest thing to magic that we have in our business. You can literally watch hundreds of dollars enter your account without ever having to make a stock trade. So I had an idea and I said, what if I can go perform street magic like David Blaine did? And what if I could go up to people in the streets of Baltimore and demonstrate that no matter their financial knowledge, they can generate hundreds of dollars and I'm going to take all the risk because I'm going to let them do this stuff in my own stock brokerage account. And I wanted them to go bananas after they showed the hundreds of dollars show up, just like the people in the streets of New York would go bananas after seeing David Blaine do street magic, because I was going to give them all the money that they generated. So I'd say, hey, do this trade in my account. I'll show you how it works. We'll film the whole thing. We'll use it in a promotion. And if you make money, which I knew they were going to, I'll give you all the money that you make. And it should be a couple $100 in 2 minutes. So that was my idea. I had it on a Friday night because I was thinking about it all the time about how we sell this product because it's a very good product. So then here comes the crowdsourcing of the idea. On that Friday night, I knew I was going to forget because I was drinking beer. So I wrote myself a note and I picked it up on Saturday and I kind of refined the idea a little bit. So by Monday morning, I came into our office and I grabbed 3 of our top copywriters and I said, let me pitch you guys an idea. I didn't have a headline complex. I didn't have proof. All I had was an idea and I pitched it to them. And they said, what if you tried it this way? What if you tried it this way? What if you did this? And I was like, damn, those are pretty good ideas that I didn't think of. So they further refined my ideas. So then I thought about it for a couple more days. Then I grabbed another 3 set of copywriters. And then I said, hey, I pitched an idea the other day to copywriters A, B, and C, and they refined it. So let me give you the refined pitch. So then I pitched it again. So finally, through the crowdsourcing of ideas, I had no less than 6 different writers make my idea better. I didn't schedule a meeting. I didn't have to contact them on Skype. I literally grabbed them at the proverbial water cooler and had the talk. I ran into them. I don't know what it was, trying to find a bathroom in our building or trying to get coffee in our building. And I just pitched them verbally and they all improved my idea. So then someone said, what you really should do here is when you travel around the streets of Baltimore, try to find people that obviously don't look like they know anything about the stock market. Because then it becomes obvious to the reader or to the viewer that if that person can do it, I sure as hell can do it, right? So someone said, there's a comic book convention coming to Baltimore here in a couple weeks. Why don't you film the first segment of this David Blaine make money on the streets of Baltimore kind of idea at the comic book convention? Because if there's people that may not know about the stock market, it may be at a comic book convention. So I was like, damn, that's a good idea. So that was my first thing. I went down to the comic book convention. We took our film crew with us. I cold approached this kid who was 19 years old. I don't know what comic book he was supposed to be, but he had big blue hair and he had a sword on and stuff like that. And I got him to use my own brokerage account. I told him how to do this trade and he made a couple $100 in like 2 minutes. I gave him the $200. I got him to look straight at the camera and he said, "Hey, my name's Brandon. I'm 19 years old. I never thought I'd make $200 on my way to the comic book convention. I know zero about the stock market. And what I just did was super easy and I can't wait to do it again." So that was the kind of birthing of an idea, how our internal copy team made that idea much, much better. Had I been on my own trying to write that, that promo would not have been nearly as successful as what it was. So there's the crowdsourcing of ideas, that being part of the in-house copy team, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You could be someone with a semi-decent idea that everybody else can make radically better. And that's just the copywriters. The other thing that the in-house copy team has radically over any type of freelance market is that you get random interaction with our editors and our gurus. So again, we all know this in the freelance markets, but in the freelance market, it's, "Hey, I'd like to schedule a brainstorming call with the guru. Can you do next Thursday?" No, I can't do next Thursday. "How about next Friday? We only have 4 p.m. open. No, that's not going to work for me. How about Monday at 3:30? Okay, Monday at 3:30, we'll do it, but I only have a half an hour." It's a very forced brainstorming conversation as a freelancer because that's what you have to succumb to. With our in-house team, it's random interactions all the time with the editors, right? That most of our ideas aren't going to come internally from a forced brainstorming. Most of our ideas are coming over dinner, are coming because we get drunk together and someone says something very interesting that kicks off a whole side tangent of a conversation that we never would have had should we been on a forced Skype conversation. So the way I always like to tell it to everybody is there was a fantastic book put out a couple years ago by a gentleman named Jonah Lear, and it was called Imagine: How Creativity Works. And it's subsequently been pulled off the market because Jonah Lear got found to make up Bob Dylan quotes or something in the book. So that's a shame because the rest of the book was awesome. But one of the things that he studied in there were why cities produce more patents per capita than any other type of community setup in the world. And the thing that he found was that city atmospheres lead to the random connections of people. So maybe the lawyer runs into the engineer on the streets of New York. They bump into each other. They start a random conversation and end up launching a business together years later. So it's the random connections of people. Having a very large, loose social network of people trying to do the same thing leads to new breakthrough ideas in a way that I can't replicate in the freelance markets. And I don't think, again, unless someone's a genius, which geniuses can still work in the freelance market, I ain't one of those. I think anybody that's not a genius should join an in-house copy team, and they just write copy so much better because of those random interactions and connections with people. So that's really what we get the crowdsourcing of ideas, and we get those random interactions that lead to the birth of new ideas that otherwise we wouldn't have.
Before I got to know you, like shortly after we first met, and before I got to know more about Agora Financial, I didn't see the logic in that at all. I just thought, established freelancers who've got a track record, why are they building an in-house team as opposed to working with freelancers? I totally get it now. I mean, it's when I do a copy gig, it's me. It's me and my dog who's sleeping at my side in the bed, and he doesn't share any ideas with me. So it's like all on me to come up with ideas, and I'm not tapped in to all that stuff. Like, I don't have daily contact with the people in your marketing department. I don't have daily contact with the guys in your call center who are actually talking to customers. As a freelancer, I'm at a pretty distinct disadvantage.
Yeah, that's what I believe, right? I think that, and again, I know certain people make freelance careers work very, very well, but I think unfortunately, I think it's a dying position that everybody would benefit so much more if they were part of that in-house copy team. And to come back to what you were saying, like, a freelancer not having access to all the data. So here's generally how one of these ideas could work. Our traffic driving team is buying millions and millions and millions of impressions on all of our promos every month. And they are the front lines of seeing what is getting eyeballs into promotions. What tiny pieces of teaser copy drives clicks to a promotion. So oftentimes it's the copywriter running into the marketer. So not even other copywriters, not even other gurus. It's the copywriter running into a marketer, and the marketer just tells them something super benign. They can say something like, "Hey, you know what? We had this thing going on Facebook, and it's got a 500% better click-through rate." And I'm just making this up. And it's got a headline of "better than Bitcoin" with a question mark. And that's getting a 500% boost in click-through rates over anything else that we've ever written. So then the copywriter could say, "You know what? I'm going to write the next promotion, and I'm going to make my headline "better than Bitcoin" with a question mark." So it's that random interaction of the copywriters, of the gurus, of the marketers who are buying millions of impressions every single month. So again, for me, I don't think I'm smart enough to make it freelance. For me, I have to be part of an internal copy team, and I have to leverage the crowd to succeed. So that's probably the biggest change over those past couple of years that we really, really sacrificed a lot to make happen, is to try to attract people that got the benefit of being part of an in-house team and that were at a point in their life that they thought a move to an in-house copy team was the right move for them. And that has been really one of the key drivers to the next couple of things that I can tell you has worked well too.
So yeah, I can't wait to hear about this. And I don't want to get you off track, but I know you have a different philosophy than many other business owners who use direct response copy. In fact, I know that's a different philosophy than many other Agora franchises have, in that you guys are producing, in terms of volume, way more copy than is it most or all of the other Agora franchises. And you're just getting it out there instead of trying to work on perfection.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we produce something at Agora Financial 2x the volume of copy of any other Agora division.
Wow.
And for me, I've learned my lesson too. So I used to try to strive for perfection. I used to try to think, that only my ideas were the good ideas, but I've been burned so many times on that. So what we say to our copywriters is, as long as the guru believes in the core idea, as long as it's not a lie, as long as it's not going to hurt our subscribers, I may disagree with it from a sales side. We're still going to put it out there because I'm wrong a lot. So I think certain businesses, someone may be arrogant enough to believe that they are the ones who can only spot the good ideas. I've learned my lesson so many times on that as long as it's not a lie, as long as it's not going to hurt the subscribers, and as long as the editor or the guru believes in the idea, it's going out. I may radically disagree with it. The way I look at it is, I'm going to be wrong and we're going to make money, or I'm going to be right about the idea not working. Either one of those two things is fine for our business, right? But I'm not going to believe that I have to approve every single idea that's going out there. So if the copywriter's passionate, if the particular guru is passionate, that copy is going out there and we're going to see if it works.
So has that been one of the keys to this rapid growth over the past 3 years, just getting it out there and see how the market responds instead of obsessing over it for 4 months, 6 months, 9 months?
Yeah, because especially in the financial markets, and I know this is different across other markets. The health market, this isn't as true in, but in the financial markets, things change quickly. So to me, the way that I always talk with our internal writers is they should always think long and hard about an idea, but when they have an idea that they're passionate about, they should execute it very quickly because markets change. So I'll tell you two quick stories about that. Right now we are in the midst of a bull market in a specific financial asset class that I've never seen in my lifetimes, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin and Zcash and whatever, right? So just all the cryptocurrency market. I've never, ever seen a bull market like this. I've never seen such demand in my lifetime. I think it just crossed. Someone just said it crossed over to be the largest speculation in world history, passing tulip mania way back in the ages. So,
oh my gosh.
Is this going to continue? Is it not going to continue? I don't know. So for me, if I have a cryptocurrency idea right now, and if I have two paths before me, path number one is to get the damn promo out there, like you would say, just sell the damn thing, versus path two being I'm going to perfect every single word, and that may take me 6 or 9 months. I'm taking path one every damn time because I don't know where cryptos are going to be in a month and a half. I don't know where they're going to be tomorrow. So if I spend 6 months on a cryptocurrency idea and Bitcoin crashes from $18,500 to $2,000 a Bitcoin, it doesn't matter how great my idea is. No one's going to want Bitcoin anymore. So my idea is going to suck, right? So in the financial markets, what we say is think long and hard about an idea, but when you have an idea, execute it as quickly as humanly possible.
Well, that's worked out pretty darn good for you. So you've got a lot of younger copywriters on the team who have no historical frame of reference. So they just do what you've trained them to do. But what about the old school guys? What has been their reaction to, hey man, once we know the big idea, let's just get out the market and see how it responds? When most of us old school guys have this belief that, now I'm finding out is a limiting belief that, hey, it takes 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 4 months to do a promo.
Yeah, this is where in 2018, one of my missions is to redefine the word copywriting, to kind of change the paradigm, because I believe it's a bad compound word. For us, what we have seen over the past couple of years is that the writing aspect of it, I don't believe matters that much. So if
You've got to talk more about that, please.
Yeah. And this is where comes some of the old school guys, right? And this is a debate. People can fully believe I'm an idiot. I will fully believe I'm right about this after seeing all the data. But the idea of copywriting to me is a bad compound word, because where our promotions succeed or fail is on the idea. That I always believe that if you have an extraordinary idea, you can have ordinary words, but you cannot have an ordinary idea with extraordinary words. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
If you have an extraordinary idea, the most ordinary wordsmith can make that idea work. But if you have an ordinary idea, the most extraordinary wordsmith cannot make that work. So for us, really, the idea of copywriting is more so about putting an idea on paper, putting a breakthrough, amazing, paradigm-shifting idea on paper as fast as possible. I have seen very amazing writing come through where the idea itself isn't right and the promo fails. But the writing is like Hemingway level writing. And then I've seen people who, like our top copywriter right now, English is his second language. He writes sentences that don't make a lot of sense to me a lot of times.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
But he's a workaholic and has amazing ideas. So if you look at it, right, it's not the writing part that's made him a successful copywriter. It's that he has had amazing ideas and executed them before the market could move away from him. So I don't know what I want the new word to be, but I'm trying to internally, shift this line of thinking and saying that if you're debating sentence structure on page 32 of a promotion, and that's delaying getting your promotion out there, it's probably a bad thing. Because what's on page 32, what's on page 18, what's on page 5 is only going to matter in the strength of the idea, not the brilliance of the writing. So we do have a lot of old school guys that we've worked with over the years who they will labor over every word choice here and there deep in the promo. And what happens sometimes is that they get overtaken by macro events that move markets and will destroy their idea because they're laboring over every word and delaying getting it out there.
Wow. That's a pretty huge revelation there. Just recently, I had somebody tell me, hey, you should check this out. And I started looking at the videos of the maps of what people look at when they look at copy online.
Yep.
And, as a copywriter, it was somewhat of a blow to my ego. Stuff I'd been obsessing over and word choices and looking up in the thesaurus. Jesus, there a better word choice? And oh gosh, I should delete, this adverb. I want to get rid of adverbs and replace that with a power verb. The majority of the market doesn't even see it. Yes. For all intents and purposes, they just look at the big idea. And then if you're lucky, they skim the rest of it.
Exactly. There's a tool, I think it's called Hotjar, if you've ever seen it, right? And it records people's not eye movement, their cursor movement in promos. And it's depressing as a quote unquote copywriter because of exactly what you're saying. We oftentimes we think that everyone is going to read everything we put in there. And increasingly more and more and more. And right, every day it's getting worse that people don't read much. Like you're saying, they look at the big idea, they look at the headline. Are they able to dismiss that headline or not dismiss that headline? Is it something they've seen before? Or is it something that's new, strange, unique enough and invokes such curiosity that they have to think about it on the next level? But that's such a binary decision that they're making within seconds. And only then, if it gets put into the yes, I want to read more category, maybe they skim the subheads, maybe they look through some proof, maybe they read the close to see the terms and conditions, but people aren't reading every word. So the copywriters that labor over every single word in an effort of delaying their promo getting out there are suffering right now in the marketplace.
At first, that was really depressing to me, being one of those guys who's labored over every word. But then when I was able to step back from it and look at it less emotionally, it was incredibly freeing because it made me realize hey man, David Ogilvy was right all this time. You've got to nail the big idea. If you've got 4 weeks to produce this thing, maybe you should spend 3 weeks or 3 weeks and 3 days on nailing the big idea, and the rest of that thing, just crank it out as fast as possible, which is what you've done and your copywriters are doing.
I think I may have told you this last time, but I'll tell it to everybody on the call again. My favorite copywriting quote that isn't a copywriting quote comes maybe illegitimately attributed to Abe Lincoln. So it's debated whether Abe Lincoln said what I'm about to say. But I'm going to give you the quote. And then you guys could decide for yourself if Abe Lincoln said it, because it's controversial on the internet. But he said something like, if you give me 5 hours to chop down a tree, I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. And to me, let's take that and replace a couple words and apply it to quote unquote copywriting. If you give me 5 weeks to write a promo, I'll spend the first 4 thinking about the idea. I'm not going to, too many times I see copywriters that think they need to start writing from day number 1. They go, okay, clock's ticking, 5 weeks, here's my idea, day 1. And I'm like, that's a terrible idea. Why don't you think hard about your idea? So for us, we think long and hard about the idea. Once we have it, we execute it as fast as possible. And we've got tools, and that's the other thing, coming back to this in-house copy team. We have a full-time researcher on staff for our in-house copy team that everybody has access to that is a godsend. You can give her anything, any topic, and she will do the most amazing, fast, legally backed up research, especially in the financial markets, and deliver it to you on a silver platter so that you as a copywriter don't have to spend your time. You don't have to be that one-person shop doing all that research. So she's in the process of taking her CFA exam, her Chartered Financial Analyst exam. But she knows how to work all these computer systems that I don't know how to work, like Bloomberg machines. And you can say to her something like, hey, I have an idea that when a company gets taken over, it can go up hundreds of % in a day. And it's some of the fastest moving stocks in the market when takeover news hits. So if that idea is right, her name is Ingie. You could say, hey, Ingie, can you research the top takeover targets that have moved north of 150% in a single day over the past 10 years? Can you tell me how many there were? Can you tell me who they were? And can you give me all the legally approved backup? She'll go away. She'll come back to you and be like, boom, here you go. 28 companies in the past 10 years moved up more than 150% on the takeover news on a single day. That way you, as a quote unquote copywriter, can continue on your idea without having to go down the rabbit hole of trying to find all this, research and backup and charts. So that's the other thing that all of our in-house copywriters get access to. That's kind of been a secret weapon of ours, is that they can continue worrying about the ideas. And we have Ingie and her team worried about pulling the very amazing pieces of proof that we need. But that would take our copywriters weeks to pull, because a lot of our copywriters don't have the same type of financial level experience as what someone like Ingie would. So you kind of get to leverage up your time by using someone like Ingie and her research team internally as well.
That's so cool. When you were talking about that research, I was thinking like, wow, we're talking about probably a week's worth of my time at the bare minimum to try to do that.
She's a magician, man. I'll tell you, she gets stuff that have made our promos radically better that I would have never found on my own.
Just another benefit of working as part of a team, an in-house team. Time has gone so quickly, and we didn't get into all the things that you've been doing to grow this business so fast. Completely, just shameless pitch. But in the January 2018 newsletter, the Doberman Dan letter, I'm going into those details based on an interview I did with you. So, hey, if you're not a knight in my Marketing Camelot, you should be. Go to marketingcamelot.com to find out about it. But I do want to give you the opportunity to do something, because you're always on the search for I was going to say talent, but you know what? The older I get, the more I find that talent has very little to do with much of anything. You're always on the search for potential.
Yep.
And luckily, I've had the good fortune of helping you find some really good people to help build your business. And I would like to extend that opportunity to the listeners in the K9 crew, the off the chain listeners. You're always on the lookout for potential, for copywriters, for marketing people, for all kinds of different people that you need on your team. So tell me, like, how can I help you? What people are you looking for? And if anybody listening to this sounds like they're a good fit for any of those things, what do you suggest they do?
Before I get to that, let me go back and cover two really quick things, and I'll be very, very quick with this because I know time is precious here. But I did want to tell everybody at home just two other things that we have done that I think are very important, and then it wraps back up in that idea that you just asked me. So
Please.
Aside from building the copywriting team over the past couple of years, what we quickly did after building the copywriting team is that we built what I believe to be the best traffic driving team in Agora as well. So here's a quick little tip for anybody that is a freelance freelance copywriter out there, or anybody that is a copywriter who's looking to join an in-house team. It's a question that no one has ever asked me from a copywriting side. No potential copywriter that I've ever tried to do business with has ever asked me this. But this is what I think to be the most important question that every freelancer and every potential person who's thinking about joining an in-house team should ask. And it is, let me count the words. Okay, it's a 5-word phrase that I think every freelancer and every potential copywriter looking to do business with a client should always ask. And that 5-word phrase is, how do you drive traffic? That needs to be asked, because that's been another key to our growth. We have built the best traffic driving team. To mix a lot of phrases here, you know that old phrase that if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one around to hear it, does it make a sound? So we replaced that with some copywriting talk. If a promo converts at 10% on the front end, but there's no one to drive traffic to it, do you ever earn a royalty? I have seen our promos internally convert at the exact same percentage of some of our competitors' promos, and our copywriters and our business will make a ton more money because we know how to drive traffic. That from a copywriting perspective, if you want to earn a ton of money in royalties, you should always be asking your clients how they drive traffic. If they can't quickly and comprehensively answer that question, you may want to find a new client. Because if you're relying on royalties to get rich, if you write them the best promo and they can't drive traffic, you're not going to earn much royalties. So all things apples to apples considered, right? I've seen copywriters earn 10 times more, no joke, 10 times more by doing business with a client that knows how to drive traffic with the same converting promo, same converting percentage of a promo as with a different client. So that's really the second thing that we've done is we've built the best traffic driving team in Agora, because I knew that if we built the best traffic driving team, that would help me therefore build the best copywriting team and vice versa. And we gave all of our traffic drivers incentives, which not a lot of people have done either. So I wanted them to be incentivized in the same way that the copywriters were incentivized. And then the third thing is that we have found those passionate, people, like you said, maybe not talent, but really passionate, productive, hardworking people that we have promoted into positions within Agora Financial to run basically mini financials within Agora Financial. So we've granted these people with passion the same opportunity that Addison had granted myself, which is the ability to run a business within Agora Financial. And now we have 4 or 5 people running their own businesses, of which they all have their own copy teams and their own traffic driving teams. And that's scaling up the business beyond Addison and beyond me and Addison. It's allowed us to effectively become consultants to our business versus being the drivers of our business anymore, because we've delegated that responsibility to people that have that passion. So coming full circle back now, for anybody that's listening, I would love to do business with anybody that possesses one of the three, actually all 3 of the 3 things that I'm about to say. Number 1 is curiosity. I love curiosity. Anybody that has amazing curiosity, I want to do business with. 2 is work ethic. If there's one commonality amongst all of our people who succeed in our business, the traffic drivers, the copywriters, our publishers, it's that they have amazing work ethic, that they don't treat their position like a job. They treat it like a lifestyle, which is what, coming back full circle, Dan, you were saying earlier, that's what entrepreneurs do, right? It's not a lifestyle. It's not a job for us. It's a lifestyle.
Exactly.
And the third thing that I'm always looking for is the ability to fail without feeling like a failure. And this is an important one, because we've done business with a lot of very smart people over the years, but once they've failed, they've disengaged from the process and they feel like a failure. So the way that I always tell this through a story is, Dan, did you remember the movie Top Gun, of course?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you remember when Maverick and Goose are flying, whatever it is, the F-16, and they have to eject, and Goose hits the top of the ejection panel and dies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Maverick can't engage for like the next month. He goes up in the fighter jet, and Viper's down on the ground, and Viper's saying, "Damn it, Maverick, engage." But he can't do it because he's afraid. I've seen so many people in our business fail because of that. They fail once, they get too afraid, and they can't re-engage. So that's the third important quality that we look for: someone who can fail without feeling like a failure. Someone who can fail and say, what did I learn from that? I'm going to be depressed for a day, and I'm going to get back up on that horse and try again. So those are the 3 things that we're always looking for. I love to talk to anybody who, is part of your business, because of what you said, is that you have referred us to such amazing people in the past, and you've got so many great people who are listening, that we've done a lot of really good business with a lot of people who've come from referrals from you, right? From being part of what everybody at home is listening to right now. So one gentleman named Nate Rifkin, who has been the most successful, you hooked me up with Nate, and Nate basically helped launch our entire supplement side of our business. And if anybody asked Nate, I think he'd say that he's done relatively well for himself over the past couple of years, and his life is radically different after we found him and he found us. So you've got such amazing people that you've always referred us to. So if anybody does have those three qualities, you don't need much more than that. You don't need a fancy degree from Harvard. We've fired people from Harvard before because they lack those three things. And then we've had people succeed. Like I think Nate was boxing up a UPS truck before he came to us. Like he was doing the boxing services for UPS and working overnight and hauling stuff back and forth. So as long as anybody has those three things, curiosity, work ethic, and the ability to fail without feeling like a failure, I would love, love, love to talk to that person and see if we could change each other's lives together.
I just to throw my 2 cents in here, I've got no dog in this fight. I've got no financial benefit coming from this at all. All I can say is I've had the good fortune of observing people like Nate and several others who've had no experience whatsoever, just a curiosity and a drive and a desire for something better, who weren't afraid of failing, get involved with Agora Financial in various aspects and go through the learning curve and through a lot of failures, but stick with it and see their lives change in a very short period of time and be able to live a life and make an income that they never could have possibly ever made in 100 years in any other opportunity. So I'm pretty excited to be able to put this out to the canine crew. If you think that you fit that description, that what Joe just said, then what is the best way for them to reach out to you, to start the conversation, or explore this further, or whatever, Joe?
Yeah, I always give out my personal email address because I don't want, we're in the business of relationships with financial publishing or with publishing or direct response in general. We're in the business of relationships. So I don't want to give out some terrible, generic Gmail address that goes to an inbox that maybe someone checks every month. I give my personal email address. So my personal email address is my first initial and my last name. So I'll spell that now. It's J, S as in Sam, C-H, R-I-E-F as in Frank, E-R at agorafinancial.com. So it's J Schreifer, J-S-C-H-R-I-E-F-E-R at agorafinancial.com. So if anybody is interested in us, hopefully changing our lives together for the better, then write to me. And the only thing I ask is that you do something to get my attention. And this comes as a double-edged sword because I get some really weird stuff sent to me. But I just ask that someone get my attention because, my inbox is very, very full, as is all of our inboxes. And if someone writes me a very trite, unoriginal, job application letter, hey, I'm so-and-so, I went to college here, I'm applying for said position, I delete those things right away because that wouldn't work to our subscribers. It wouldn't, and it doesn't work to me, right? We have to be new and weird and dangerous and strange and unique. So don't make yourself ignorable. Email me and get my attention in some type of way. I've had a lot of really weird, creative, amazing stuff done. And I'm always looking for the next thing because I get a kick out of it. And I'm looking for you to get my attention in a way that we would have to get all of our prospects' attention in a very competitive world right now.
That's a good point. May I add a quick thing to that?
Yeah.
So keeping in mind that there are people who, after starting with Agora Financial, have, their probably only qualifications would have been like the same as me, scraping dough off a bakery floor for $3.35 an hour, which I've done, or being the Walmart greener. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but not qualified to do much of anything. After starting with Agora Financial, they are millionaires. Therefore, keeping that in mind, if it were me wanting to get the attention of Joe, would I send him an email? Yeah, maybe is part of my process. But I would look up Agora Financial online and I would find their snail mail address. And I'd start getting really, really creative as to what I could send them, send Joe in the mail or via FedEx or via private courier or hiring a freaking Brinks truck to send him something to get his attention. When we're talking about the potential opportunity to make yourself a millionaire, I can get pretty damn creative. That's just my 2 cents, Joe. I don't want to cause you a bunch of problems receiving all kinds of packages at the office. I'm just throwing that in.
Let me say 3 really quick things on that. I heard a story years and years and years ago, and I might get some of the details wrong, but I think it was Jim Carrey, the actor, who had written himself a certain amount on a check and hung it up on his wall. And this was before he was ever very famous. And he used it as inspiration of a particular amount of money that he wanted to make each and every year. And he would walk by it every day in his house because that check in that amount made out to himself was written, in his living room or whatever it might have been that he would walk by. So I always thought that was a really interesting idea. So I did the same thing. I wrote a check to myself in a very, very extremely high amount, and I put it up on my wall. And I am happy to say that because of Agora Financial, I have now made radically more than what that check is worth sitting on the wall. So that's pretty awesome. And it's not because I'm smart. It's because that I found Agora Financial and lucked out in this opportunity. I do think I was hardworking, but I wasn't smart. And like you said, Dan, I didn't come from anything. I came from the poorest area of Baltimore, an area called Dundalk, that I was the first one in my family to graduate college. Not that it meant anything because I didn't learn anything through college, and had it all to do again, I wouldn't have done it. But, I'm hardworking. That's really all I got going for me. And I'm stupid enough not to feel like a failure when I fail. So that's kind of one thing is you don't need to come from anything, and you can make a ridiculous life-changing amount of money if this thing works out. The other thing I want to say is we at Agora Financial conduct a 2-month soup to nuts copywriting training program that I believe is the most robust training program out there for writing copy. And we're about to put 12 new writers through that program that we're gearing up for in early 2018. But even though it's a 2-month program, it's a 6-month apprenticeship that we hire everybody for. So we hire everybody for a 6-month apprenticeship. 2 months, we train you on everything. We train you on idea generation. We train you on headlines. We train you on leads. We train you on how to make your offer stand out. At the end of 2 months, you have 4 more months to kind of apprentice with all of our senior copywriters. And at the end of 6 months, we rinse and repeat the process with a whole new class of copywriters. So depending on when someone is listening to this, we will do this pretty much every January and July for as long as we keep growing and as long as I'm here, which I intend to be a very long time. So every January and every July, we will be onboarding somewhere between 5, 10, 15 new copywriters, putting them through this 2-month copy camp program, and then followed by a 4-month apprenticeship program for a total of 6 months. And then we'll rinse and repeat. So, everybody always says, well, when are you going to stop hiring copywriters? And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Every copywriter that we've hired, in correlation, our business has grown if they've ended up working out. So I will never stop hiring copywriters. Everybody said, well, what if you get to 40 copywriters? I don't care. I want 50, I want 60, I want 70, because I want people who are curious, who work hard, and who have the ability to fail without feeling like a failure. So I'll take as many people as possible. This isn't a specific, hey, I've got a seat open, therefore I have one copywriting opportunity. I will take as many people as I could possibly get that fit those 3 criteria. And again, just to say thank you to you guys, you've been so awesome in our relationship together and have delivered us so many amazing people. So it speaks to the quality of the crowd that you've built.
Well, thank you for saying that. And so addressing you directly, my dear listener, I've got no dog in this fight. I don't make a dime off of any of this, got nothing to sell. It's just I've really, really, really struggled in this business. I've really struggled as a copywriter. And I know the emotional toll that takes on you. And I'm just happy to point you to a way to get through that learning curve a lot faster and provide you with an opportunity that I never had. I have no idea where I would be today if I would have had an opportunity like this to work with Agora Financial. So I am not a cheerleader. Again, I'm approaching a quarter of a century in direct response marketing. And in all that period of time, I am a cheerleader of very, very few people and companies. But I am the biggest cheerleader and supporter of Agora Financial because I know the people there. I know their integrity. I know the business. They have provided my people with awesome opportunities. They've provided me with opportunities. And this will sound crazy. They're good for their word, and they do what they say they're going to do, and they pay what they're going to say they're going to pay. And for those who are not very experienced in this market, they might think, well, duh. I'm telling you, after damn near a quarter of a century, that is more rare than you can possibly imagine. But when these guys tell you something, you can take it to the bank. That's why this is my personal stamp, my endorsement on this. If you want to check this out, if you think you're a good fit, then I really think you should check it out. And I hope that doesn't sound like gushing, but I'm really happy to do this, Joe, and happy that you agreed to be on the show.
Absolutely. So like I said, thank you very much to both you and Jonathan. I had the pleasure of meeting Jonathan in person last year at Todd Brown's event, another mutual friend of all of ours. So Jonathan was awesome. Dan, you're always not only a phenomenal human being, but a very, very good friend. So thank you guys very much for putting this together. Anything and everything that I could always do to help your crew, I am happy to do so. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Joe. I'm going to take you up on that because we didn't even get to cover all the things I wanted to cover. So I hope you'll come back on soon.
Absolutely.
All right. So that is a wrap for another Off the Chain show. Thank you, K9 Crew, for tuning in. And thank you, Joe, for sharing so much with us. Until next time. Hope you enjoyed today's show. K9 Crew got a special treat for you, what we are affectionately referring to as the Off the Chain Hotline. Tell us you love us, tell us you hate us, ask questions. We don't care, just call 321-424-6043 and give us a piece of your mind.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.